Hello everyone, I'm Mehmet Onurcan, and today I will be explaining Michelson-Morley experiment from a historical perspective. First of all, the scientists found from the Maxwell equation that the speed of light is given by this expression, and it's approximately 3 times 10 to the 8 meters per second. But the question naturally arises after this result is that this speed is relative to what? So they first proposed a substance called ether to solve this conundrum, and they proposed that this substance ether permeates all the space, and it is absolute reference frame the light propagation, and it is the medium for light propagation. And they was thinking that there must be a medium for light propagation since it's a wave, like mechanical waves. For example, sound waves require a medium like ocean to propagate, or sound waves also require air to propagate. And ether, actually, they thought that ether is a medium for light waves. And Michelson-Morley experiment is conducted to test whether or not the ether was in fact an absolute reference frame, and of course to prove the existence of ether. And it tests whether the speed of light relative to the Earth remains the same or not. And the basic setup is drawn here. This experiment consists of 2 mirrors and 1 beam splitter or half silhouette mirror or half reflector, and there are also detector and light source. And the experiment, if you analyze it, the light is go from the light source like this, then it's half of the light transmitted through beam splitter like this, and half of it reflected like this. And after this, the light rays went to mirror 1, comes like this, and these rays also reflected like this. So they then go to the detector, and these 2 distances are equal to each other, so we don't expect any interference, but any phase difference between these 2 light rays, since they are equal to each other, they cover the same distance, and if the whole setup is standing and not moving relative to ether. But if we analyze this experiment from the ether point of view, let's say this is our ether and is given like this, and assume that the Earth is moving horizontally to the right relative to ether. So if we analyze the right ray going to mirror 1, it first came from here and it goes to like this, then it go reflected from mirror 1, then it came back to the beam splitter. So it covers a distance like this. Also, if we analyze the mirror 2 reflection, the light ray go to mirror 2 like this, but its speed is now shorter, smaller, since the Earth is moving relative to ether, and then it comes back to the beam splitter again, but at this time its speed is also not c. So the distances is given like this. For mirror 1, this is the going ray and this is returning ray from the mirror 1, and also this is for mirror 2. And to mathematically analyze these experiments, we should note that this is the distance covered by the light ray reflected by mirror 1. It goes to mirror 1 and then came back to here, and if the speed of Earth relative to the ether is v, this distance is given by vt, and the total time taken by this light ray is given by 2d prime over c, if this is d prime. And we know from the Pythagoras theorem, d prime square equals to d square plus vt over 2 square. And if you make necessary calculations, we know that this is given by this expression. So also from the binomial theorem, which is given here, we know that this is approximately equal to this expression. And also if we analyze the light ray reflected from mirror 2, it goes with speed c plus v, since the speed Earth speed relative to ether and the light propagation is in the same direction, it is plus, and it's reflected after reflection, its speed is given by c minus v. So total time taken is given by t over c minus plus t. And if you make necessary calculations, this is given as, and by using binomial theorem again, this is this expression. And if you find the time difference between these 2 time taken by light rays, this is given as 2d over c. And since this is v squared over c, these 2 cancel with each other, and we can say that this is given by this expression. So there must be a phase difference between these two light rays, light ray 1 and light ray 2. And we are expected to see an interference in the detector plane since they are not in phase now. If the light ray 1's phase is like this, the light ray 2 is like this. So they are not in phase and there must be an interference. So if the ether is horizontally aligned with the experiment setup, we see a interference in detector according to ether theory. So they rotate the overall setup like this to see an interference pattern, but they don't see any interference pattern. So there are two consequences we can draw from this experiment. First consequence we can draw is that the ether does not exist and the light doesn't need a medium to propagate. And the second possible explanation of this experiment is that at the time the experiment conducted, the ether's velocity relative to Earth is 0. So if we have an ether like this, and if Earth is going this way in January, and also ether going this way for all time, if they go like this, so there's no relative speed of Earth relative to ether, so we can't see any interference pattern. This is one explanation, but after 6 months in June, for example, the Earth going like this, so it's speed. Now there's a speed relative to ether of the Earth, so we would see an interference pattern after 6 months in such a case. So they conducted the same experiment after 6 months, and again they don't see any interference. So this explanation must be wrong. So the only explanation of the experiment is that ether doesn't exist, and this phenomena successfully explained by Einstein's special theory of relativity. Einstein proposed that the speed of light in vacuum is same for all inertial reference frames, and so there's no absolute reference frame like ether. So there's no ether. That's all. Thanks for watching.